here with Joyful Miles channel. It's all about inspiring others to enjoy life 1 mile at a time. We are continuing our chats about the Tinkerbell Half Marathon with our very special guest, Jennalyn. Hello, Jennalyn, again. I also want to mention too, she recently did a guest post on our blog about her family Easter 5K tradition that they do, what, for 3 years now?
Mhm.
So you definitely
Yeah.
want to check that out. I will be putting a link below and see the special things that her and her brothers and sisters and her entire family do to keep everyone active and set good examples for their kids. Until then, we have a 5K to talk about, and oh boy, there's a lot to cover in this one for what I call Tinkgate. So, but let me say hello to Rob first.
Hi.
Once again, Jackie
Yeah.
and Megan couldn't join us. Hopefully they will be returning for our next video. So we're going to get back into the talk and discuss the Tinkerbell Neverland 5K.
Mhm.
So let's get to the 5K then. So staying on Disney property, what time did you get up to walk on over?
So I wanted to get there early, having watched your Tink tips for the 5K, and I was running with 3 friends. One was my sister, and then 2 other gals, and they did not want to leave quite as early as I did. But we met about 4:15, I think, in front of the Disneyland Hotel to go in through security there by Earl of Sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something new from last year is the new security setup around the downtown Disney area. That was not there last year for Tink, but I did hear from people who attended Lightside that they did have it up and running for that race. And it is something you have to kind of factor in to your walk to the corrals, that those lines did start to back up at those security checkpoints. But yeah, we met our friends at about 4:15 at that security checkpoint and made our way into through downtown Disney to the entrance of Disneyland. And we took our picture like on Main Street there in front of the castle at about 4:30. And we made our way down Main Street, which is just the best feeling ever. Like, to do a race right in front of the castle is amazing, and I wanted to do the 5K just for that alone.
Yeah.
There was some confusion about the corrals, and as we kind of walked up, they had already filled one side of the hub in front of the castle, and that's what they were calling the A corral. And as we came up, we needed to filter into the other side, and that was what they were calling the B corral. And there were people around us that felt confused by that because they saw the A on their bib. And a lot of people were kind of talking around with each other, and everybody had just kind of realized everybody had A on their bib, and it was still kind of a first come first serve in the corrals.
I have to check, and I'll put a note here on the video, or I will put it in the notes for the podcast. I'll check to see if my bib last year said a corral.
Mhm.
I can't remember if it did or not. I don't think I paid attention to that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a little confusing for people. I mean, it didn't matter to me. I was still up on the one. When you're looking at the castle, we were on the left side of that circular area.
Mm-hmm.
I could still see the stage and the programming that they do with it at the beginning of this race, and I had no complaints about our location. I did watch, though, behind me how people were filing in and how far back it stretched down Main Street, just to kind of get a gauge where you were with all the people, because in my mind I was going to be doing character stops and taking lots of pictures, and you always kind of want to know where you're at in the crowd. So it did seem to go back a ways, but I really couldn't see how far back.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say that the other really wonderful thing before this race starts is the program that they do, and I know that was in your race recap from last year, and I thought that was fantastic with the pirates out there. It was, and the best part for me, and I am a huge Tinkerbell fan, is when Tinkerbell flies above the castle and she's all lit up and it's dark outside. It just It did. It just brought me goosebumps. It was really neat. And then it looks, from watching your race recap, that the gentleman who sang the national anthem in Pirate was possibly the same guy, but it was really stunning because he did it like with a ukulele, and I'd never really heard the national anthem in Pirate before, but it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. I think so. The A corral took off first, and they moved the B corral kind of around the corner to kind of filter in. The archway was made of some balloons. Mm-hmm. It was missing a few, it looked like, but they did shoot the confetti.
Pirates, they got them.
Yeah.
Captain Hook was helping.
It was, and they released and it wasn't too long after, the B corral took off as well. And I can tell you, having experienced the new Wave release that they have done at the Dopey and at Princess, they would have very much benefited from a Wave release at this race.
So they did not do Waves. Wow. Okay.
They did not.
And I really think about these things.
Wish they would have. The congestion coming through that like narrow area where the balloon arch was so tight for quite a while, because if you look at the 5K course, about the first, there's a little bit of Disneyland area, and then the first mile is really in the backstage area where it really kind of narrows. And I would say that it was so congested for at least that first mile. There wasn't much running that you could really do, which again, for the girls that I was running with, it wasn't a big deal. It was just, we were doing it to have fun and take a lot of pictures. And so I'm not upset by that, but I did see a lot of people on the internet voice their opinions about that aspect of the race. I do think, though, that if they had released in waves, it would have been a better running experience for people. Or maybe even for walkers. There are a lot of people that do the 5K that do it with elderly, like grandparents or with their small children. And so even for that aspect, I think it would have been a little more enjoyable.
Especially with this race, since it is first come, first serve. So there is no, you don't have the fasters in the front and all that. So yeah, that's a good idea.
So let's get to the hot topic of the weekend. And you had mentioned that you were ready to take some character photos. So how did that go?
So this was, I was the person in charge in our group to find photo opportunities. That's like a highlight for me when I do the Disney races. Sure. And I kept watching for the characters, and they never appeared, and I absolutely love Disneyland races because there are so many opportunities to take pictures without characters. Yeah. There's so many fantastic backdrop areas. So it was fine, but the strangest thing happened is when I think it was somewhere in California Adventure, we were running along, and I thought I had seen Captain Hook and Mr. Smee off to the side. So I kind of had my group kind of move over to the right-hand side so that we could get in line. And there was pirates around them who were cast members, kind of pushing or moving people, not like physically pushing, but moving people off to the side and explaining to them that it was a selfie station. That they were doing like a little program. And there were some people that didn't really understand, so they still would kind of jump up in there to get a picture. And it was kind of awkward because runDisney hasn't really done anything like this before. If they do have a selfie spot, you always see them up on a bridge, just like at Princess. You'll see Anna and Elsa up on that ledge of the castle. But these guys were right off the side of the running path. So I think it caused a lot of confusion for people. And of course, there's thousands of people looking for the characters to take pictures with. So it was, like I said, it was very awkward. The four of us running did try to do a selfie. And if you look at it closely, you can see somebody trying to kind of maneuver their way in between the two of them for an actual photo. But I just remember a cast member, kept saying, okay, this is just kind of a selfie spot. You have to keep moving.
Right.
but after we were done with the race, I wasn't on social media that much. But I did meet up with more friends that evening who had just flown in, and they had said that the internet was blowing
Oh
up
yeah.
because
Oh my gosh.
there was no character
It was
stops.
funny because
And
I was actually Skyping with Heather Jorgensen from the Running with Grace channel, and we're cooking up something for the fall, and all my notifications were like going crazy from my one group, and I was like, Heather, are you keeping up with all this that's going on? I mean, it was insane, you know?
hmm
Wow.
well,
Tinkgate.
But there was
I checked the Run Disney website after I got home just to kind of read some of the comments, and people were so upset and
People were
so
demanding their money
angry.
back. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
hmm hmm So
there
it
was no
was
communication from Run Disney prior
no.
saying that we're not going to have characters for this race. Nothing
If
like
you
that.
look at the Disney website, it even says on there on course entertainment and character stops.
Hmm.
And I think it's still there today if you log on and take a look at it. So no, there was no notification. And I think the big question for those of us that had heard or participated was if the characters were going to show up for the 10K the next day.
Right.
Right, because
Um,
I heard. Did you get any communication from? I heard that there was a statement from Disney saying that there was not going to be characters for the 10K.
I did not receive that.
I think
Did
that
you hear
what
that?
what that all came from was people were saying that they went to the expo and they actually talked to cast members or Run Disney officials there, and that's where they were told that for the 5K it was a test because apparently there were so many complaints with long character lines and people being swept because of these long character lines that they wanted to test to see if there was no characters, if that would help, to alleviate this problem, which of course, doesn't make any sense to me at all. Bring out more
No.
characters so
No.
the lines are
Yeah.
more spaced out and let everyone know up front what characters are going to be where so they can make the choice of what they're going to plan ahead for. So anyway, but
hmm
yeah, that was what people, I don't know that directly. That's what I was reading on Facebook groups. So,
And I heard a similar thing from my friends that Friday afternoon.
So how did it
Um,
make you feel? Because I mean, admittedly, it said that it's not the only thing that you do. Character. The only reason why you run these races. And I would say the same thing. Characters aren't the sole reason, but they're a big part of it.
mhm.
So how did that make you feel after the 5K?
I was totally fine. Like I said, there are so many beautiful locations to take photographs with your friends and make them really fun. I sometimes run with people that like to do lots of character stops and sometimes run with people who do not. And I personally prefer to do them. But like I said, it was Disneyland. They have so many wonderful places to take pictures. It didn't bother me at all. I love the races out there with or without. Now, if it had been the World Showcase, for instance, in Disney World, I might have felt differently. I love World Showcase, but I really think that the characters add a lot
Oh, yeah.
to that circular area. hmm And to that stretch, those first 3 miles on the freeway, before you get into World Showcase.
Mhm.
So, but for Disneyland, I had no problems with it.
So,
hmm Yeah, we had a really good time. The one thing I will say, I did see PhotoPass photographers on the race route, probably mostly in California Adventure, because the route does not stay in Disneyland very long. But
Yeah, talk about the route real quick.
So I did look it up from last year, and it was exactly the same. So you stay in Disneyland, a pretty short time as opposed to the 10K and the half. And like that first mile and a half is backstage area. But you do weave through California Adventure quite a bit. I would say for at least a mile and a half. There was, I think, a fair amount of PhotoPass guys. The one that wasn't there, and I don't know if it was there last year, you'd have to let me know, Laura, but I think if they had placed one at the Paradise Pier area to take photographs with that Mickey Fun Wheel area and California Screamin',
yeah.
I think that would have been a nice addition. And they didn't do that for the 10K either.
Really?
Really, I don't believe the half. No, and they did not have a photographer in front of the castle this year. So like when we did our joyful jump shots, we had to do it all with our iPhone, which was fine. But I think that was one thing I would have preferred to have a photo pass guide there, and they did have them last year, but they didn't this year.
Right now.
Hmm.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
odd.
Mhm.
I guess maybe they were trying to keep down congestion because everybody wants that castle picture, and I don't
No
know.
pictures on this course. Got to keep people moving.
Right.
Yeah, really, they really, and this course, it starts at 5, which I find kind of interesting because the other two races start at 5:30. So we were out of the park. We were heading back to our hotel already and we spent probably an hour on the course, but we were already heading back by like 6:30 in the morning.
And Disneyland parks don't open as early as Disney World parks
Mhm.
typically. They don't open until like 9, 10 o'clock usually, right?
Yeah, I think so. And that's why I was so surprised because they had the time to allow people to do the character stops and to have the photo pass guys in those locations. So I wasn't really sure kind of what was I felt like they really wanted to move people through early and quickly, but
And these 5Ks aren't cheap. If you're doing a 5K, a Run Disney 5K, it's roughly what, like $90, I think?
I was going to say, I think 90.
Which is not cheap for a 5K, especially when you're selling people on the experience, the on-course entertainment and characters, and all the magic that goes with it. And if you're taking things back, it just makes them look bad. And I always get kind of frustrated when they start nickel and diming like these things. Like I said, it's not the only reason why I run them, but it's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the medal?
The medal. So
It's
I
all
love
about
the
the
medal.
bling.
Yes, I love the
I
medal this
love
year.
that medal. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
that is so
I mean, and
cute.
that's kudos to Run Disney that they've adopted the medal, improved the medals for the 5Ks.
It's
'Cause
fantastic.
that's one of the best looking medals I think I've seen.
That's gorgeous.
And I think what they do a nice job with is it works for a male or a female.
Mhm.
I know I thought about that at Princess because my 15-year-old son ran the 5K with me, and I was hoping it wasn't a totally girly um, medal, and they did a really nice job. And I think this one too would be great for a boy or a girl. And there are a lot of young children that run the 5K with their family, and I think it was just a really well done medal, and the ribbon is really awesome. You can see that Mr. Smee and Peter Pan are on there.
Very cute.
Yeah, very nice job. Again, I like the T-shirt. I like the medal
Mhm.
this year. They did play pirate music through the whole race experience, which I thought that was a nice addition. When you're out there at Disney World, and especially on the freeway, you don't hear any music. But I would say we heard music through the whole thing, and it was a pirate.
Nice.
I know there was some complaints I saw on the internet about the It's a Small World being dark. And if you looked closely, like if you were just running by, it did look dark. But if you look closely, Tinkerbell would fly across the front of the Small World ride attraction. And then sometimes there was like a pixie dust that kind of sprayed across it. So it was the effect that they were going for. And then in addition to that, there was lots of silhouette sprays that were up on the buildings. So there was like a silhouette of Captain Hook or Peter Pan.
Nice.
And I think those were really neat. Those were effects you could really only use for the 5K because it was dark when we started. By the time we started the other two races, it was already getting light outside, and those wouldn't have been effective.
So that is going to do it for this chat about the Neverland 5K. Thank you so much, Jennalyn, for joining us and sharing your experience. And I personally love the positive attitude you had about this race. It's very refreshing. And I'm so glad that you and your sister, Jill, hi, Jill, by the way, and all of your friends had an amazing time. If you ran the Neverland 5K, please leave your comments in the comments below and let us know how you enjoyed the race. Also, thank you for our new subscribers. We truly appreciate your support. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And as always, take care and have a joyful day.